They ate Susan. They ate her to the skull.
It's no secret that I love bad movies, but Things is on a whole different level. Low budget, incoherent plot, and terrible acting. Just the way I like it. There is a place in the world for Things. The trash can. I'm not even sure I can accurately describe how this movie opens up, but I'll try. This girl's stripping in a basement wearing a devil mask. I'm not sure if this is a horror movie, a porno, or a snuff film. Either way, I'm scared. Actually, the actress here, Jessica Stewart, was a real-life prostitute. So I'm still not sure what's going to happen next. This guy, who we later learn is Doug, comes in talking about how he wants to have a baby, but he can't have kids. Honestly, that's about as much plot as we're given for the entire film. He wakes up to realize it was all just a dream. Now, I've had some weird dreams in my life, but this one takes the cake. I actually dreamt once that I turned my boss into an Oscar Mayer wiener whistle. Even that seems normal compared to this.
I feel like I'm gonna die.
We see his wife, Susan, in bed, and it turns out that she is pregnant. So I guess his wish came true, but with horrific results. Now we jump to some news anchors telling us stories and current events. This has very little to do with the rest of the movie, and it cuts to them a lot. The director later admitted that these scenes were only here so that they could put Amber Lynn's name on the VHS tape to boost sales. Who's Amber Lynn? Well, take a wild guess. Yeah, she's a porn star. Now, where were we? In the woods? Well, what's going on? I wish I could tell, but it's just too dark. Two guys, Don and Fred, show up at Doug's cabin. Don and Doug are brothers, so when he doesn't answer the door, they just head on in and go straight to the kitchen for a beer.
You sure Doug won't mind if we have a few of his beer?
Inside the freezer, of all places, they find a tape recorder.
In the freezer.
Okay, they turn it on and it starts playing some weird chants. They make reference to how this is similar to something that happened in Evil Dead 2, which just makes you wish you were watching that movie instead. They wander around the house, taking note of Doug's art collection, having some Salvador Dali painting that was supposedly burned down years ago. If that was true, this painting would be worth millions, and this guy wouldn't be living in a dump like this.
Oh, well, where he used to live was this last house on the left, and he stole it, but, that's another story.
Finally, they settle down to watch some TV, mentioning that Doug gets some underground stations up here. So they sit down to watch that. It's weird. Some mad doctors poking a fork at a hand with no skin. There's fake heads hanging all over the place. They pull out this poor guy's tongue and eye. What am I watching? This serves no other purpose than to extend the runtime and show off some cheap effects. Which, honestly, are the best part about this movie, but it still feels like I'm walking through a crappy haunted house.
This is stupid. I'm scared.
Finally, Doug walks in, burping. It's a reoccurring character trait for him. He's
Did you
gross.
bring any food?
Everyone's hungry, so he goes to make him a sandwich. While Don's not looking, they put a bug in his, he takes a bite. Yeah, real funny. Moving on, because it looks like Susan's ready to have the baby. Everyone comes running in to see it's not human, but several of these things. They look like giant ants with teeth. So what happened here? Well, it turns out that Doug really can't have kids. They didn't have enough money to see a traditional doctor, so they went to see Dr. Lucas, who I guess artificially inseminated these things into her, and now there's a bunch of them running around the house. Susan's dead, the phone's out, and these guys are too afraid to go into the woods at night. To make matters worse, the power cuts out.
Hey, what happened? The lights went out.
We go over to the news again, and they're actually talking about something relevant. Doug and Fred are now missing, and search crews are out looking for him. When we return to the cabin, well, Fred's missing. They don't know exactly what happened to him, but the best they can guess is he spontaneously combusted.
I think I know what happened. Spontaneous combustion. I read about this crap.
They're more worried about finding the fuse box to turn the power back on. Some friends. Doug ends up getting some blood on his shirt, so we get to see him topless for a while. Thanks for that. They get a few beers, crack a few jokes, acting nothing like you would expect them to when your friend's missing and your wife just died. Eventually, Don needs to take a leak, but he's too scared with all the things running around. So they go to a kitchen to get a flashlight, and after killing a thing and jerking off the light, they check out the bathrooms, where nothing happens. They wander around for a while, and again, nothing happens. It's not until they go into the basement we finally get some action. Doug's attacked, and Don, trying to hammer one of the monsters, accidentally hits his brother, knocking him out cold.
What did I do?
He fights the creatures for a bit, and finally, after 6 years of messing with the fuses, he gets the lights back on. I think. It's still too dark to tell what's going on. Don gets his brother up the stairs, complaining the whole time about how heavy he is.
Oh, I wish I had a midget for a brother. Oh.
But up there, it's not any safer. Doug gets his hand bitten off. They cauterize the wound, which, as cheap as it is, actually kind of made me shudder a bit. Imagine lighting your arm on fire. Well, when Don comes back with some morphine, Doug's dead.
Doug!
So it was all for nothing. Don drills the wall for some reason. The things attack. Then he falls asleep on the couch. He wakes up to a chainsaw going off in the house. It's Fred. I guess he didn't spontaneously combust. They team up to take out more things, and oh my, there's a lot of them. Eventually the chainsaw stops working, and Fred's toast. But instead of helping his friend, Don just kind of stands there. He does eventually go into the room, only to see Fred's torn to shreds, basically just a skull at this point, saying that he'll be okay. They can fix him.
I'm still alive!
Oh, yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
You shithead!
Dr. Lucas shows up to check in on Susan, Don blaming him for all this. Which I thought he was the one who artificially inseminated these monsters in her, but after seeing him, I'm not too sure. I think he did his job right. It's just Doug dabbed in the occult, hence the recorder in the freezer and all that stuff. I don't know, they certainly don't explain it in this movie. The doctor wanders around for a while, seeing all the carnage, and blames it on Don. All the creatures seem to be asleep or hiding.
I'm telling you, the creatures were here. They were here. You gotta believe me, you gotta believe me. We even killed a bunch of them.
Ah, you're a real Looney Tune.
Not wanting to go to prison, Don throws the doctor in the bathroom and locks the door. In the morning, Don runs out of the house and manages to get some help. They make it to the car, and then a bloody Dr. Lucas attacks.
I'll be okay.
You've just experienced Things Is Right. This movie is an experience like no other, a test of terrible filmmaking. The movie reviews itself.
This is ghastly, brutal, horrible, insane.
The only reason you would want to watch this pile of poop is to tell others that you sat through Things, and then they'd look at you like the indie low-budget film god that you are. Is it all bad? Yes, but you can tell the creators loved horror movies with all the little references, and their heart was in the right place. They really tried on the special effects, so I'll give them credit for that. The biggest problem with the film is the sound. They recorded it directly to the Super 8 film, and it was too loud, so almost all of it had to be scrapped and re-recorded. That's why you have all this crazy dubbing. I get it. When you make something like this, there's bound to be issues. Redoing the sound is better than redoing the entire movie. But still, as I'm sure you heard, they could have done better.
Creatures with no soul are devouring me.
The plot is weird, and there's not quite enough meat on the bones to make this into a whole movie. But if it was remade as part of an anthology series with a little bit more budget, it might actually be passable. Joe Bob Briggs talked about Things on The Last Drive-In, and Riff Treks tackled it as well, so it has a growing cult following. I actually do recommend watching Things just once in your life. Marvel at how hilariously bad it is, and then move on to something more important, like taking a nap or watching paint dry. No, Things isn't the worst movie of all time, but it's down there. I give it 1 thing out of 4.
That's human blood, all right.